Amelia smiled as she approached the barkeep at Sweetberry Tavern.
"Hello there, sir. Table for two, please."
"Yes, my lady, of course."
"And make it a private table, please, somewhere out of the way."
Nathan frowned as he continued to sense trouble. Perhaps a more secluded area would give them peace, or at the very least, flush out any possible assailants.
"Of course, good sir. I know just the spot."
The barkeep led them out of the noisy main room and into the back to a private courtyard table.
Nathan, why do we have to be outside? It's hot out here."
Nathan Hayfield smiled at his sister as they sat down at their table. He didn't want to worry her if he didn't absolutely have to.
"Come on, Amelia. The fresh air is good for the both of us."
The shopkeeper smiled as he whipped out menus for both of them.
"Now, what are you fine folks in the mood for today?"
Amelia immediately caught the man's gaze.
"Shopkeeper, do you have any more sweetberry soup today, or are we too late already?"
The shopkeeper grinned as he did his best to impress the two young nobles.
"You two sure are lucky. Only 5 bowls have been bought today, so there's plenty left for the both of you."
Nathan nodded his head at the man.
"Then we'll take a bowl for each of us, and some of your assorted side dishes, if you please."
Amelia chuckled.
"And perhaps just a glass or two of your wonderful sweetberry wine?"
"At once, young master and my lady, and thank you both once again for gracing us with your presence here at the humble Sweetberry Tavern."
Soon, a series of delicious side dishes appeared in front of them, as well as a few flagons of wine. Nathan ignored the wine as he dug into potatoes, leeks, yams, and dumplings. Meanwhile, Amelia waited patiently for the main course.
"What's wrong, Amelia? Don't you want some of this stuff?" "That's okay, little brother. I'm mostly here for the soup. I don't wish to sully my clean palate with anything else, besides a little sweet wine, of course."
"Suit yourself, sis, but I gotta tell you, you're missing out."
After nearly an hour, Nathan began to frown. Amelia was clearly starving, but any time the barkeep rushed past the open door, he seemed to ignore her glances or raised hand. Finally, Nathan had enough of this and waited at the doorway for the barkeep to pass by. When he did, Nathan shot a hand in front of him and frowned.
"Hey there, barkeep. What's going on here?"
The barkeep's face was covered in sweat as he anxiously looked for a way to get around Nathan.
"I'm very sorry, sir, but I have an important matter to attend to in the kitchen, so—" "Not so fast. Come on now. What's really going on?"
The barkeep finally looked into Nathan's sharp eyes and relented.
"My dear guest, I'm very sorry, but it seems likely that there might be issues with your sweetberry soup."
"What kind of issues?"
"We don't have any left anymore."
"I thought you said there was plenty left."
"Those bowls were spoiled, I'm afraid. Listen, we've got plenty of other meals for you and Lady Hayfield to enjoy."
Nathan sighed. Clearly, the man was in some sort of bind. He wasn't trying to take their money and run. That much was obvious.
"What really happened to our bowls? And please, don't lie to me this time. I'm not one to punish people for things beyond their control."
"Good sir, almost immediately after you ordered your soup, a group of 5 rowdy young men came in off the street. They were dressed most extravagantly and demanded your soup, all of our remaining stock. I tried to explain that your bowls had already been ordered, but they shouted at me and threatened to whip me like a horse if I didn't do as they said. I'm very sorry, sir, but they've taken your orders."
"Be careful of your words here, shopkeep. What did they say to you exactly?"
They said they wished for all the sweetberry soup we had available. When I told them there were only 3 bowls left, they demanded your share. They said, 'What about Nathan Hayfield's order? His family will fall soon anyway.' They said you didn't deserve it, sir."
Nathan could barely suppress his anger.
"So they're looking for trouble, huh?"
The shopkeeper nodded his head profusely, desperate to shift the blame onto the real perpetrators.
"Yes, they seemed to be, sir. Not to mention a single portion of sweet berry soup is enough for nearly 2 people. There's no way they each needed their own bowl. I'd wager it was all just a ploy to draw you toward them.
Well, unfortunately for them, it worked.
Bam! Nathan's fist hit the door frame loudly as he turned back to face Amelia, who sported a look of grave concern.
Amelia, whatever happens, you best stay here.
Amelia stood up, even more concerned now.
What is it, Nathan? What's wrong?
Nathan's face grew softer in front of Amelia's expression.
Just stay here, all right? Somebody's trying to mess with our soup. I'll be back in a minute, I promise.
Nathan, don't. It's just a dish. We can go somewhere else. It's not worth you getting hurt.
Unfortunately, sis, it's not just about the soup. If we leave them today, they'll simply harass us again tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that, until they're harassing us for Father's seat. Sooner or later, we'll be forced to act, and I have no intention of waiting any longer.
Amelia's face grew somber. She knew in her heart that her brother's words were true. Still, she couldn't get the image of his split-open skull out of her head.
Very well, then. I understand.
Nathan's smile faded into a grimace as he turned back to the barkeep.
Let's go, then. Lead me to them. I wish to meet this rowdy bunch.
Right this way, good sir.
As Nathan followed the barkeep, he failed to notice Amelia trail after them. She had no intention of staying behind and failing to protect her brother a second time. Nathan followed the barkeep through the tavern and up a flight of stairs toward a private room directly above the main hall. Suddenly, the barkeep froze outside the door as he pointed at it.
They're in that room, sir, although I beg you, seek to resolve this matter peacefully. After all, they have a numerical advantage, and all 5 of them look to be extremely wealthy.
Nathan simply scoffed and moved toward the door, one hand on the hilt of his broadsword. From inside the room, sounds of debauchery, laughter, and gruff whispers could be heard.
But if you must choose violence, sir, I beg of you to take this matter outside so as not to disturb my other guests. This is a place of business, after all.
The barkeep frantically backed away down the stairs to the bottom landing, where he nearly bumped into Amelia. Knock, knock. Nathan rapped on the door with his knuckles and then shouted at the top of his lungs.
Come out and face me, you villainous scum! Didn't your mother teach you not to steal food? I guess not. No matter. I'll make sure all of you learn your lesson well. Bam!
The door to the room burst open, and out rushed 5 people at the same time, each one clutching the hilt of their blades. Nathan immediately recognized Niles Raven and Michael Clay as the leaders of the group. The other 3 were likely lackeys of the 2 noble sons. Niles grinned as he took a step toward Nathan.
So it is you, the little hayfield brat. I was beginning to worry you'd run away.
Michael stepped forward next to Niles, desperate to match his macho energy. Nathan could tell he must have hit the sweet berry wine hard to muster up the courage for this little skirmish.
So what if we stole your food? Huh? You don't deserve it anyway. A few weeks from now, you'll be nothing more than commoner trash. That is, if we decide to let you live.
Michael's cheeks blushed as he gritted his teeth. The 3 lackeys laughed loudly at his words. From down below on the landing, Amelia could not remain silent any longer.
Michael Clay, how dare you say such a thing? Our family is still a noble house, and we have just as much a right to enjoy these luxuries as you do.
Before this moment, she would have happily whisked her brother away from the situation, since she still felt it was foolish to fight over such a trivial matter as a bowl of soup. However, Michael had insulted her family's honor in public, and now she was determined to stay and fight beside her brother, even if the insulting party was stronger than them.
Ah, who is this now?
Michael looked down over the upper floor railing at Amelia, who stood with her arms crossed at the bottom of the stairs. One of his lackeys chuckled.
Oh, that's the horrible Hayfield girl. 20 years old and she's got nobody to marry. What a joke.
Michael sneered as he shook his head at her.
Oh, it really is Amelia Hayfield, isn't it? Poor girl. Already so old, and yet you're holed up in your family's household. Too bad you've never been around a real man before. Once I teach your brother a lesson for murdering my little bro, perhaps I'll consider taking you as a wife, huh?
Amelia's face scrunched up in rage. Her fists clenched together as she imagined slaying Michael down herself. 20 years old wasn't really that old for a girl to be unmarried, but it was still a soft spot for Amelia, and she knew some ladies of Godricshall loved to gossip about such things. Amelia did everything she could to fight back the tears welling in her eyes, and instead smirked confidently at Michael as she spoke.
You better hope you never get the chance, Michael. For any real man who shares my house ought to know his potions well, lest he drink something foul I may have accidentally slipped into his glass. Tell me now, would you prefer to piss blood before you die, or have your lungs filled with black bile? Perhaps a mixture of both is fitting for one so brash and stupid. Why, you impudent girl, I oughta... Shing!
Before Michael could say another word, Nathan drew his broadsword and leveled it at Michael's neck. The 5 boys' eyes slowly turned to lock on Nathan's cold stare as he calmly spoke.
Michael Clay, I suggest you hold your tongue before you lose it. You're courting death with every word you speak.
Nathan didn't care what Michael said or did after this moment. As soon as Nathan had drawn his sword, he knew that Michael Clay would forever be a name on his mental death list.
Whether it's today or a year from now, I swear to the heavens, I'll have this bastard's head for what he said.
However, Michael's brashness didn't stop at Nathan's threat. Instead, the wine and his jeering peers gave him confidence in his actions.
Look at this flashy oaf. He must be bluffing. There's no way he'd touch me with that sword in public. I'm the heir to the House Clay, after all.
Michael sneered as he stuck his tongue out at Nathan.
Nice sword. Where'd you get it? Your great-grandfather's crypt? I swear, this whole family's a joke. Perhaps I'll let you live a cripple and force you to attend your sister's wedding night with me as I slash.
Before Michael could taunt Nathan any further, the Hayfield family broadsword cut the tip of Michael's tongue clean off. Michael screamed in agony as he stumbled back toward the other 4 boys. He spoke painfully with a now permanent lisp.
My tongue! That bastard thought my tongue! Thief him in ass! Shing, 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 shing!
Niles drew his blade as the other 3 lackeys did the same. Finally, their taunting had paid off, and, legally, they had every right to come for him.
Come on, lads. He drew first blood. Let's mince this mongrel down.
They slowly advanced toward Nathan, who held a defensive stance, biding his time for the perfect moment to strike. Before the battle could commence, a commanding voice called out from the shadows in the tavern down below them.
"Wait, I say! Sheathe your swords at once!"